your girl, Taliana Sanchez from La Bella Vida Inc., and welcome to our podcast, Tattoo Nightmare, episode 9. For today's episode, we have Cesar Velasquez, a tattoo artist who will be sharing their worst tattoo nightmare with all of us. Welcome, please.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming through.
Yeah, my name's Cesar. I'm a tattoo artist. I've been tattooing for about 7 years now. Born and raised here in the San Fernando Valley.
818.
There you go.
Representing over here, you guys.
And right now I'm tattooing out of Black Anchor in Hollywood.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest with you. Like, seeing your growth to where you're at now, I'm very, very proud of you. Like,
Thank you so much. Likewise, you know?
You put a lot of work and effort,
Yeah.
and it shows.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure you had a lot of nightmares throughout the whole journey.
Yeah,
growth.
I mean, I feel like we all kind of do.
Yes.
I think about it like it's kind of a rite of passage, you know?
Yeah.
Like you kind of have to deal with those things, you know?
You know
But
what?
you come out, you grow from it, so.
Yes, I love that. For today's cups or mugs, I have Jack Skellington over here, and he has
The Velasquez cup.
yes, who his brother gave it to him. Last
Shout out
Christmas.
Andy, dude.
Thank you, Andy, for
Yeah.
giving him this. This is really cool. So, Velasquez. No, just kidding. Cesar, let us know or take us to a journey or a time where you had a nightmare that you would never thought that you would have to go through.
I mean, as far as like tattoo wise, I don't know. I guess it's not too much craziness. We've all dealt with like the drunk, messy client, you know.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I feel
Okay.
like probably I would say one of the worst ones that I've kind of had. He was like he was just getting disrespectful,
Got it.
and at that point I kind of had to cut it short.
Tell us from the beginning, like, when did you notice that he was drunk, or did you notice?
So he didn't come in drunk. That's the thing. And so
Oh.
I'm very lenient with my
Yes.
clients, you know, as long as I'm able to get my
Tattoo
work
them.
done, tattoo,
Yeah.
you know, like
And
we keep everything
sometimes-
casual,
yeah.
you know. But
He took
yeah,
it too
so
far.
yeah, this guy kind of just took it too far. He would go outside in the back, sneak some drinks, stuff like
yeah.
that.
Because you know what? I'll be honest with you as well. Like, with some of my clients, I let them drink a little
Yeah.
bit in the beginning. It's
Yeah.
to calm the nerves. Or sometimes they come
Yeah.
from, work and they just want to relax a little bit more. And he was probably like, I need extra shots or something.
Dude, yeah, that
behind
liquid
you.
courage, whatever it might be,
Yeah.
you know.
He was probably too nervous.
But I mean, it gets to the point where you kind of can't hide it, like
yeah.
you
They
know,
get really
so-
sloppy.
yeah, that this the specific situation, like I said, he was getting disrespectful with one of my coworkers, and even with me, and it was just kind of like throwing the whole thing off. And at that point, it's like I can't even work on you, you know.
Yeah, because they're
So-
moving, they're getting agitated.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
man.
it's funny because like I ended up kind of talking to the guy, like, you know, just kind of was like, yo, what the fuck's going on,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And so he was like,
Why are you
"Dad,
drunk?
Yeah,
Like,
dude.
why are you
but,
drinking too
Yeah.
much?
But he was just kind of like going through his things, and you know, like people, when they go get tattooed, to them it's kind of like therapy. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, like he saw it that way, but he kind of got
Took
a little
it too far.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
he didn't know his own limit.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
yeah,
It
I had to cut it
kinda-
short.
How did you approach him, or did he react a certain way when you told him? Because he was already.
So I
drunk.
did. I had to simmer him down like a couple times. You
Oh,
know,
yeah?
I had to simmer him down, and he kind of kept getting like he would calm down for like a good 5 minutes, and
Just
then
for
you
you to
could kind
tattoo
of start
him?
seeing him get
Oh,
loud again, start moving. Like, hey, let me
God.
take a break, go in the back,
Drink
like
some more.
drink whatever,
Oh my
you know,
God,
sneak
yeah.
a drink.
Damn, sneaking a drink.
Yeah,
Fuck.
bro, what?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
He was probably chugging it too, like a tequila out there. Or
Yeah, I don't
something.
know what the hell he was on, but
It
yeah.
just made you feel so
It
uncomfortable
yeah,
and stuff.
well,
like,
I mean, not only that, but like, it makes your other,
Oh,
your other
yes.
coworkers like
feel uncomfortable.
exactly,
And
you
they're tattoo
know,
artists.
the whole
Yeah.
environment just kind of
And their
feels
clients.
off. Exactly. Like, you don't want to bring somebody in and like have them kind of get messy like that, and then everyone's just
Yeah.
like, not only does it reflect on you, it reflects on the shop too. You know what
Yeah,
I
because
mean?
then they're like, are these the clients you're going to be bringing
Yeah.
all the time? Are you able to communicate to your
Yeah.
client that they can't drink? But it's
Yeah.
different when they sneak it. You
Yeah.
know, when they're like going out and you see them back more drunk, you're like,
Yeah. You're like,
is it me or are you
yeah.
okay? But you
Yeah.
don't want to make it a big
Yeah. You
deal.
seem a little bit more loose than
Yeah.
last bathroom break you took. You
Yes.
know?
And I definitely agree with you with that because, like, well, I think, when you let somebody drink, it's okay. But if they don't know their limit, how are you supposed to know if they
Exactly.
know or not? They
Yeah.
know their limit or not
Yeah.
because you're giving them that trust,
Yeah.
and sometimes that trust is like taken for granted.
Yeah, I mean, it's a mutual thing, you know. Like, a lot of
Yeah.
people don't see it that way,
Mm-mm.
but like, you gotta think about it. You're spending hours in that chair getting tattooed.
Yes.
Like, you kind of bond with the person. Like, you can't help it, you know.
Yeah.
Like, they'll they'll tell you their stories, you relate,
Yeah.
whatever, you know. You go
Trauma
back
dump
and
on each
forth.
other.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, so this guy ended up he was kind of going through his own things with life, you know, and
Yeah.
so I kind of gave him the benefit of the doubt.
Yes.
I let him know, like, you know what, come back at a later time, like,
Mm-hmm.
no alcohol, dude, like,
Yeah.
none whatsoever, you know, and then we'll finish your tattoo. But yeah, like that actual situation, you
Yeah.
get so frustrated, you don't know like
How
how.
to deal with
Yeah, or
it, how
like, man,
to.
I gotta get this dude out, or like
Yeah.
whatever, but you can't because this person's intoxicated, so you can't just kick him,
That's
you know.
so true. You know what I
Yeah.
did? You know what I've learned? Have water. Have
Yeah. Oh yeah,
water. Like,
definitely.
make them chug water. Like, all
Yeah.
right, you're hydrated. Or let me drink. Let's cheers with
Yeah,
water.
you know, like, just sober him up real quick. And
Because when you do talk to a drunk person, I've learned never to tell them you're drunk.
mm,
Because then they get frustrated and they're like, I'm not drunk. I'm not drunk. And they get heated. That's
yeah.
just something I've learned from watching people get drunk around me and stuff, especially in tattoo shops.
Yeah.
Mixing alcohol in tattooing is a risk in general if they don't know their limit,
True.
and it's so hard to know a person's gonna have a limit or is going through something that they're chugging and stuff.
Yeah.
That it's like, hold up, I can't tattoo you like this. Like, you're gonna be moving around a lot.
Yeah.
Like, people don't understand when they get drunk or high, they tend to feel things more or move things around. Or one
Mhm.
little move for them is like a big swoosh for us. And we're like,
Yeah.
you gotta kind of be still for us if
Yeah.
you want your tattoo to come out great.
Exactly, because it all reflects like on the tattoo itself, you know.
Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Dealing with the drunk. Did your tattoo artist,
Dealing with
fellow
the drunk.
artist, like tell you anything? They're like, bro.
Dude, so that's the cool part about, like, at least the artists that I work with now is like they're all very understanding. Like, they let me know, like, hey, we've all been through it, you know.
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of kind of like communicating and dealing with it in a way that it's
Yeah.
like I said, it reflects on the
Yeah.
artist in the shop, so you don't want that to come back and like bite you in the ass, you know.
Yes. Because
So
people get flirty when they drink a lot. People get aggressive.
Dude,
People
yeah.
get emotional.
You don't
get
know how
crazy.
somebody's gonna be, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
when they get drunk, you're just like,
Yeah.
what is it called? Rolling the dice on this, see
Yeah.
what's gonna happen. That's crazy though. Dealing
Yeah.
with a drunk person in general
Yeah.
is a hot mess.
It it is a little bit, especially like when you're just trying to do your job, you know.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, I've had those experiences.
Have
or,
you ever
like,
dealt with a tattoo artist that you're just like, oh my god, this is turning into a nightmare?
like
You obviously don't have to name the artist.
luckily, I wouldn't say something where like I'm just like fed up with the environment or whatever. Like, no, I
Okay.
haven't really, but I'm not very like easily frustrated, I guess I would
Okay,
say, when
okay.
it comes to that.
Or have you seen other tattoo artists have beef with each other that you're just like, whoa, like, but you're not part of it in a sense, but
yeah,
you're
yeah. It is a little awkward. Like,
Yeah.
you could feel like
the tension.
the tension, you know?
Yeah.
Everything just kind of feels
Yeah,
heavy.
yeah.
Like,
Tell me that nightmare where they give you the goosebumps or the heebie-jeebies. You're like, Please don't fight again.
Yeah, so like you know like
Yeah.
okay, this artist is coming in and then that other artist is coming in and you're like, oh shit, like here we go.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. You're like, are they gonna like talk shit to each other? Gonna
Yeah.
ignore each other? Like,
Yeah.
what did they fight about? If you.
So
Uh-huh.
I think, damn, what was it? Like a specific one? I don't even know what it was. But oh, you know what? It was actually, that's funny because you were
I was in
yeah,
that
you were
one?
working.
Oh!
You were working.
Oh,
We were
okay,
working
okay,
together.
okay. Oh,
And I'm
you
sure,
know what?
like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm
You know
talking
this
about.
is a good one. This
So,
is a good one.
This
Mr.
artist,
Grumps.
dude, yeah, yeah. Mr. Grump, dude.
Oh, like the Seven Dwarves.
So
he was Grumps.
yeah,
Right. That was.
yeah. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was because we were all just like starting off. Like the shop was just full of,
Yeah.
you know, like
Yes.
young kids starting off, and he kind of felt like he had been there for a minute, enough for like that seniority, you know?
Yeah. Oh my God.
And
yes.
so I do remember one occasion where he told me straight up, he was like, you know what? Any walk-in that walks through this door, like they go to me, like
yes,
you know?
Yes.
And I wasn't even tripping, dude. Like I'm like, dude, I'm just trying to tattoo. Like I'm not trying to get into any of that,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. The whole went back in the day when we were young. No, just kidding. Walk-ins were the way a lot of artists would get, a lot of old school artists would get their clientele. Nowadays, especially in our era, was more like transitioning from walk-ins to social media.
Yeah.
So that was a big transition, and we artists didn't really were fighting for walk-ins versus like the old school people and stuff. They were fishing through that way. So it didn't really bother us, but I do remember like with him, like this specific Grumps, we're gonna call him Grumps. He was there before all of us, so he felt like he was like on top of the world. Like he was able to move things around, but we didn't give a fuck because we're like, this isn't our environment.
Yeah.
We're gonna let you be in your corner, and we're gonna let you be grumpy. You know, and that's what we did, and he would get mad because he wouldn't bother us that way, but he wanted to let it known for everybody, like with music. I even remember with music.
Yes,
I think another artist brought in like bocinas,
big old speakers
and you guys had your radios thing, and like it was such a vibe, and it was a pretty big space. You know, we all had a corner. We were not like squished in together or anything, but that's crazy that he came up to you and be like, oh, the walk-ins are for me.
It was like when I had barely gone there, because I knew you were already there for a little minute.
Yes.
But I don't know, maybe he saw me as like, oh,
yeah, like another
this guy's
like
brand new, like
he's trying to get. It's because he was one of those artists that couldn't get a clientele because he wasn't. First, his vibe was totally off. People felt it. Nobody really wanted to be around him. Clients would not right away know like what's his problem, because he would just look at everybody if they were tattooing, and he was just sitting there. He was just sitting there for the longest time though. Yeah. It's just like
he's just making it a point to let everyone know that he's upset, you know?
Yeah, and he I think one time turned off the music, didn't he?
I think so.
And like told one of the artists like, you know, like this is my space too, like, and all this shit, or because he was going live or something like that. Like, I don't know. It's like little small things that I'm just like, oh God, like, it's just some artists don't understand like to make room for other artists. Yeah. Like, this is I think one of the things a lot of artists have problems with is like different personalities within the tattoo industry, and sometimes we just don't vibe, and it becomes a nightmare when people start like almost fighting and like. To the point where over music, over clients, over walk-ins.
Like silly things, you know? Yeah. Like when at the end of the day you're just in there trying to create, like,
yes,
you know what I mean?
Oh my God, yes.
But I've like kind of doing it. I've learned that it's just it's kind of like a difference in like the generation, I guess, you know? Yeah. So like you see that from a lot of the older heads, you know, that have been tattooing for a long time, like prior to social media, prior to, you know, like all these new styles that you see now. Yes. And so I just feel like it's they just come from a different era of tattooing, you know?
Exactly. Like, how did you start your apprenticeship, your tattoo apprenticeship?
So I started I was already at a shop right? Like I was apprenticing at a shop. Um, it was like a small little walk-in shop, but I just felt like I wasn't really learning. Like they kind of just threw me in there, like
Oh,
start
okay.
making money, you know?
Yes, a lot of
Um,
people have that mindset too.
yeah. And so I wasn't really like vibing with that. I didn't really like that. So then I started hanging out with homies that were also starting a tattoo.
Oh, okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
and so I would pull up. I would just pull up, draw, set up, like have art nights, whatever. And I just kept doing it. And
Yes.
eventually, one of my homies was like, "Hey, he's looking for a shop," and he's like, "Well, does he want to work here?" And I kind of, it happened so naturally that it just, I don't know, like kind of, it made the experience a lot more comfortable, a lot more enjoyable, because I came into that shop like knowing, all right, my homies are here, like there's some amazing artists. They're like, we're all kind of coming up, like we're all in this like
Growth
same stage
vibe.
in the
Okay,
journey,
okay, okay. Yeah.
And so it's crazy to see like where
Everybody
everyone's
went.
at now, because
Yeah.
even you after that shop, that's when I landed at the other shop, and you
Oh,
were
okay,
there,
okay,
and like
okay.
we were all kind of still in that same like
Yeah, like
stage,
grow. Yeah,
growing and stuff.
growth and
So
shit.
it's
Like
awesome to see
being
like where you
independent.
guys are at too,
I know, like seeing everybody. Like this is where the night. It's after the nightmare
Yeah,
we went through.
this is
Like
the
we're
prequel,
like,
you
ah.
know? The prequel to all the
Yeah,
nightmares
just
and
seeing
shit.
everybody doing their own thing and stuff like that. Like from now, from then to now, have you dealt with any other nightmares dealing with clients, or how did you like kind of set boundaries with people like that, or other
So,
tattoo artists?
like I said, like I really do believe in like making the client feel comfortable, and I'm very lenient. Um, but what I do is like I really don't, like I have my ways that I filter out all that, So I kind of gauge the person, like even from like that initial text, And so like I see what they like. I ask what they want, like what they're trying to get, stuff like that. I let them know like from the get go, like okay, I can give you something similar, but it's gonna be like my own spin on it,
Have you ever had those that are just like
I want it exactly how it is?
Yeah,
I have. And if it's like, don't get me wrong, if it's something small
like,
and they're like looking for something that's just like, okay, I want that. Like, okay, that's fine. Like, it's simple enough, But if it's something a lot more intricate that another artist, like did, I'm not gonna do like I'll tell them straight up, like, you know what, I don't do that. Like, I'm sure you don't want anything. So this is what I tell them, like, I'm sure you don't want something that somebody else has, Like, you want something that's original and that's yours. And usually they'll be like, yeah,
they're open to
you're
it
right.
and stuff.
Yeah, but if not, then I'll just, I'll tell them like I'm not the artist for you.
Have you ever had a client like blow up on you and be like, why can't you just fucking tattoo what I want?
Not blown up. At first, I did have like those clients that were like, oh, the line's a little wonky. But this is like, I'm saying, like, this is probably me a month into tattooing.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like I'm still kind of learning the ropes and stuff. And I always tell people, like, dude, you gotta break a couple legs,
Yeah, you do.
To make an omelet.
You
Yeah, so.
to make an omelet.
You feel me?
That's true. That's funny.
Yeah, so like I said, it's all part of the journey. Like, all these
100%.
little things are like rites of passage. Like don't feel like if you're going through it or whatever, like you're dealing with this client, like damn, like it's only me, blah blah. Like nah, we've all gone through it.
Yeah. We've been victims too, you guys.
We've been victims.
That's funny. But it's so true. Like it's like it might be little small ones, or sometimes they're big and sometimes they're small. But these nightmares that we go through with other tattoo artists or other people, tend to actually make us grow and like have boundaries and learn to respect ourselves as well. But I know you've gone to a lot of tattoo conventions. Like, have you seen anything that you're like, whoa, this is wild? Kind of like.
As far like scandalous, or just like, whoa, that's some dope work?
No, not the dope work. Like we're going for the nightmares. The scandalous. Okay. Like you're just like, it doesn't have to be specific from yours, but if you see, how other booths fight. And you see it all the time in the tattoo industry in conventions.
So with conventions, like, think about it too. Like, they're kind of like big parties.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Big tattoo parties.
Yeah. So you do have that like that person that probably
Been
same
drinking too
thing,
much.
yeah,
Yeah, I
and
always
they
see,
start
get too
getting
close
like
to the fucking
confrontational or
tattoo. Yeah,
exactly,
with their drink.
yeah. So yeah, you do see like the occasional just like fight, just two
Two
dudes or
dudes.
whatever, just going at it,
Yeah.
or whatever,
Security, come in here.
yeah, or
Tell
yeah,
me,
like
tell me one in specific that you're like, holy shit, how you saw it build up and stuff that you're like, I'm glad I'm not in that occasion.
so I didn't really see it build up. It was kind of like one of those things where like you're walking towards your like you're going to where you're going,
Oh, you're just
and
minding
then
your business.
yeah, and then you're like, oh shit, like something's popping off over there,
Yeah.
and you kind of
saw them
just
fighting and
yeah,
stuff. Was it a client tattoo artist or just random ass people or?
I think it was like I think it might have been like an artist and probably like I don't know who the other person was, but yeah, they're throwing.
Yeah, because like when you really go to these like tattoo conventions, not all of them, but like a good handful, like they sell alcohol and everything, and people get what is it, drunk confidence or
the liquid
courage
yeah.
and stuff. So there's shops have beef with other shops, and sometimes they're close by.
Yeah.
Or there's other tattoo artists who don't like other tattoo artists, and they're close by, or they pass by each other's booth and they say something smart. Or sometimes, I'm not gonna say it's always gang violence and stuff, but sometimes some of them like represent certain like barrios or cities, states, whatever, so they clash and stuff in this industry sometimes, but not all the time.
Yeah, no, for the most part, like you're in there and it's like
a good vibe and
yeah,
stuff.
it's a
just
great
liquid
time.
courage, you guys. Sometimes people should not drink.
You know what I have like received is that like that you go up to a booth and like you're trying to meet an artist or like you look up to an artist and like they're not what you expect them to be, like or act like you know what I mean. So it's like one of those things where like, that damn, like bro, like I look up to you, but
but you're not a good person. Like not that you're a good person, but
they kind of just
rude.
like shrug you off.
Yeah, like, you're like, oh, thanks.
Yeah.
They like no like interaction, no like human interaction.
I get it, like they're tattooing, they're doing their thing. They're probably zoned, whatever. I like to give people the benefit of the doubt, you know.
You seem like those good hearted people.
But yeah, sometimes like, damn, dude, you're a dick.
I know. I know exactly what you're talking about, because a dick knows a dick. No, but I 100% agree with you. Like a few people that like I admired and like I love their work, I learned to separate that because it can be your worst nightmare, because dealing with an artist through social media versus in person, totally different vibe. Like they might be good in camera behind, or in person they just don't like people, or they deal with people all the time that they get annoyed of it. Like personally, me, like I didn't realize this, but from all the art shows and like conventions of going, like I need breathers. It's a lot going on for me. Like I love talking to people, but sometimes I need a break.
It can be like too like overstimulating.
Yeah, and I've learned that from myself. Like, and it was a nightmare one time going to an art show, and like people were talking to me, but I felt like I was blanking out and like I felt dizzy and stuff. That I had to step out like where there's no one at, and I had to take deep breaths and stuff, because it can be like overstimulating with somebody or a lot of people at the same time are trying to talk to you, and you want to be there and be appreciated, because like
you want to showcase your stuff, you know,
and they're the ones who actually brought you up where you're at, you know, and like you want to be there for them. And sometimes like I wasn't all there because of that, because I realized like, oh shit, like big crowds like give me anxiety, you know, like and I'm trying to be there and trying to like present myself to you and like how I am through videos and lives and stuff, because that's how I am. So I'm just like, it's just so nerve-wracking that I realize some people get like that. So I try to, like, you know what you said, give them the benefit of the doubt. But sometimes some people are just dicks, man.
Yeah.
Really, like, and that you're like just that. Like, damn, like, you glorified them so much that they just didn't give you anything.
So we say, dude, don't meet your heroes.
Don't meet your heroes. That is such a true thing. I didn't realize that until, like, I met a few, and I'm just like, but I learned to separate their work versus the person.
Yeah, but so I will say this though, like I've met a lot of like artists that I look up to and that I've looked up to coming up to, and they're awesome. Like they're great, you know. Like I feel like thankfully it outweighs like all those that
the bad ones and stuff,
that'll
or
just look
like not
at
the
you
best
and
reaction.
yeah,
And I get
exactly.
it what you mean. Like sometimes when people have a bad day or whatever the case is, but just I think people need to realize like when you do grow and you are a better artist and
Yeah.
you have a lot of eyes on you, you tend to have a responsibility too as
Mm-hmm.
well, like of like what you put out, how you treat people, because then you
Yeah.
get a taste of other people's. Like you give people bad taste and like, is this what social media brings you, or is
Yeah.
this what like they get big headed or whatever the case is and stuff.
Yeah.
So I've learned from growing a lot in social media, like you have a responsibility of that where like you should really be yourself and stuff
Yeah,
like
no,
that. Like
definitely. Yeah, because I mean,
not let it
you
get
don't
to
want
your
to
head.
fake the funk either, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you gotta be authentic. Like,
Mm-hmm.
stay true to yourself.
Yes.
All that.
So don't drink and drive, you guys.
What do you
Or
mean?
don't
Or
drink and don't drink and get tattooed if you don't know your limit, because that's gonna be our worst nightmare and your worst nightmare as well. Because dealing with drugs in general is not fun and stuff. And knowing your like character and like you're so nice and stuff, it's hard to tell somebody like get off my chair.
yeah, no, I mean like all's cool like under the right circumstances, you
yeah,
know?
100%.
You,
There's a
yeah,
time and place.
yeah,
You could
yeah,
drink here and there, but
yeah, dude, get lit,
yeah.
fucking, you know?
But just know your limit in
Just
tattoo
know your limits, yeah,
conventions.
yeah.
Yeah, tattoo conventions with your tattoo artist. You know what I mean? Like if you're having like a not a great time in your personal life, and I get it. Some people want to get tattooed during those
Mm-hmm.
times because like to kind of like represent their time
Yeah, of
harsh, or
course.
sometimes people like the pain and stuff. You know.
Yeah,
Uh,
whatever the case may be.
yeah,
Like it's
just check on your drinking because it could definitely turn into a nightmare for both of you guys. But thank you to end the nightmare on a good note. I do have a question for you, Cesar. What advice would you give to a tattoo artist on how to treat their clients and other tattoo artists to respect boundaries?
so like I said, it's a very mutual experience. You get me? Like as an artist, yeah, we're the ones that provide like the experience, but as a client, I feel like you're gonna be, like I said before, you're gonna be sitting for hours. You're gonna come in, get tattooed, and you're gonna bond with this artist. Like I feel like communication is key. Like you guys to both be on the same page. I make it a point to pretty much like give them the rundown from the get go. Like as soon as I get the text, not only that, but I like to make my clients feel as comfortable as possible because
Yeah.
it's an uncomfortable experience. Like
Yeah.
tattoos
100%.
hurt. So
And they're being vulnerable and
yeah,
exposing themselves.
not only that, like you're getting hurt for hours.
Yeah, that's so true.
So I try and make it as comfortable as possible. Um, from the get go,
And for tattoo artists, like
Yeah.
what advice would you give to other tattoo artists that are obviously up and coming, or just in general, like to have boundaries with one another, respect each other's space, like Mr. Grumps.
Like Mr. Grumps, yeah, I would say, I would say the same thing. Just communicate. Like you both have to be on the same page.
Yeah.
If
Try to
if
find
you
the
can't
problem,
see
just
eye to
yeah.
eye, like you're probably not the artist for them.
Like either move shops or
yeah.
just learn when it's time for you to leave and when
Yeah.
it's time for you to stay, or yeah. 100%.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, whatever.
Because your environment means a lot,
Yeah,
whole lot for not
yeah,
only
definitely.
the artist and the client, but like for you,
Yeah.
not for other tattoo artists and the client, but for you specifically. Like it shows in your work,
Yeah.
especially
Oh
what
yeah.
environment you're at.
Definitely, and then the environment is also how you grow. The artists you surround yourself with, like you're surrounded by all this beautiful artwork. So like all
Yeah.
of that.
100% agree with you. Well, that is some great advice to give, not just only tattoo artists who've been in here in the game for 10 years plus, but also for people who are beginning into it.
Yeah.
Because the environment plays a big part on your tattoos and stuff. So Velasquez, is there any other nightmares you would like to share with us?
Yeah. So I mean, there's a bunch, but like from the ones I can pick out, I do remember here it was the shop that I was starting off at, and I was there for like a couple months, but
Oh, your first apprenticeship.
yeah. So prior to like the 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 owners that had that shop when I was there,
Yeah.
they bought it off like some other owners or whatever. But it was like a known thing that one of the artists had like murdered his wife or his girlfriend in the
Oh
shop.
my god.
And like, you know, the whole thing, like chopped her up. Like,
Chopped
this
her
and
up?
that.
At the same
Yeah.
place?
Yeah, dude.
When we talk about tattooing, we don't talk about killing people like that.
Yeah, no.
Damn.
So there was that.
That's crazy.
Dude, like I said, I was.
Did you
there
ever
for
feel like a
months.
vibe laying there, or were you like?
No. So what ended up happening to that shop is that they downsized it. So like half of it ended up getting turned into like a pet grooming place.
Oh wow.
And then the tattoo shop was like this small, like, you know, small space. Luckily though, like that whole thing happened on like the pet grooming. Like that's where they ended up finding it. That's why they cut it up,
huh? They're like, we're gonna chop this part away and not do it. That's so the pets.
And what's funny is that I didn't even like end up finding out about that until I left.
Wow.
So once I was at the other shop, they're like, "Oh, that's where that happened."
Yeah.
I'm like, "What do you mean? Like,
You're
what the
like,
fuck?
what
I was there for like months."
I was walking on those.
Yeah. But no, like I never got no like
weird ghosts or anything.
I didn't see
Somebody
anything.
saying,
Yeah.
Nobody, no whispers.
No whispers. Like, nah, hell no.
Velasquez.
Oh, dude, I would have been out of there. Fuck no. You know, like when you watch cartoons and you see like the smoke that's
oh
like,
my god,
they take off running.
yes.
Bro, it would have been like a hole in the wall and it's just like my shape and shit.
Yeah, that's fucking hilarious. That's good.
But no, yeah, that happened, and then
that's crazy though. That's a trip in itself.
Yeah. Then like another, so this was at the second shop that I was at. They ended up closing that shop because so it was this whole thing. It was like these gang members. I think they thought that it was still under the same ownership. Right. Oh, so it's always like the previous owners getting into shit. Yeah.
Before you, and then you guys meet and then you shop in the same location.
Yeah. So they ended up coming through and like trying to tax the place. You know,
like check you guys.
Yeah, and like, and then they ended up closing it because it was one of those things where it's like, we're not gonna put anybody
in danger and stuff like that. That's crazy. Like, when that happened, did you guys notice that they were like? Yeah.
So it was like. It was one of those things where, like,
one Friday at night,
dude,
full moon and
dude, all that
fogginess, the wind was,
dude,
the wind was whistling.
No, but it was like, cause the shop was busy. I remember that the shop was busy, and like when this was happening, everything just kind of died down. You know,
everybody felt it.
Everybody got quiet. Like, what the fuck is going on?
Did you guys have to buzz them in or like?
Yeah, because we did have a buzzer. Yeah, but the thing is, like. You think they're clients or like walk-ins, you know? You can't really tell.
That's so hard to like.
So once we were up there, they're like, "Hey, you know, like this is going on. We can shut it down." And then the owners were just like, "Nah, we'll do it." Like,
damn. Do you know anything about the past owners that was there?
No, I don't. Honestly, no, I don't.
Yeah, no. I mean, there's just rumors and stuff, but I don't know, like, you know, something happened with the owner and stuff.
Sure, if like they were getting taxed and they thought it was like the previous
owner,
people, I'm sure they were in some shit, you know.
Yeah. That's crazy. You don't really think about that, you know, especially when you're trying to like build a new shop. Yeah. Like what it was in the past. Because,
dude, the area, like all that, you know?
Yeah, it makes a big difference.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially if they're checking in because they're so used to doing that at that shop and they probably were thinking it's the same people. They just try to change the name. Exactly. So I'm like, damn, that's crazy. Like,
you never know.
Yeah, that is a fucking nightmare right there. You're like,
and so I think we ended up kind of finding out that these guys were just fresh out. You know? So they didn't really have that information either, that it was a brand new shop, like brand new owners, you know, brand new artists, like brand new everything. Yeah. And they just assumed, and it was just one of those things where it's like, well we're out. Like, we're not going to put our people in danger. Like,
that's crazy though.
But shout out to that shop. That was honestly like, I would say that's where I
started to
really,
grow.
yeah, like I would
Getting
mark
it.
like the start of my tattoo journey, you know.
So that nightmare turned into a
Yeah,
a
it
good
was
thing
a
at the
good
end.
run.
It was a
Yeah,
good run while it
yeah,
lasted.
yeah.
And your first shot was a nightmare.
Dude,
Your second
I
shot was
know.
a nightmare.
I
Your
know.
third shot was a nightmare. Keep them coming. Is there any other drunk stories that you want to let us know?
um, yeah, there's a couple. Yeah. So there's I guess there was one occasion where I had a guy come in and
Which shop was this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
dude,
6, 7,
yeah,
8.
one of those. It was like one of them. But yeah, so he had asked me like, "Hey, is it cool if I drink a beer?"
Mm-hmm.
Right? I'm like, "Yeah, it's fine. A beer, like
You're
it's,
good.
yeah, you know,
It's just
you're
one
good."
beer.
Yeah. Homeboy pulls out like a hard the Mike's Hard Lemonade.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and like a shooter of what was it?
You said one
Fireball.
beer, motherfucker.
And I'm like, yo, what the hell? I'm like, all right, like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
You're chilling, like that's it.
That's
Like
capping it right
let's do
there.
this tattoo. And so then a homie comes, busts out a bottle. I'm like, oh,
Oh
no.
my
Oh
god.
no.
Oh
And
my
I kept asking, like, hey bro,
god.
like if you're gonna be drinking like that, I'm not gonna be able to tattoo you.
Mm-hmm.
No, I got it. Like I got it, you know?
Yeah.
He did not have it. Like
He was like, hold on.
Yeah. And so that one was another one of those instances where I had to cut it short. And
Yeah.
yeah.
You learned from your previous one that
Yeah,
you're like,
exactly.
oh no, I'm
Yeah.
not gonna let this repeat again.
Yeah, so
Did he understand? Was he throwing a fit?
no, he understood. Like
Yeah,
he
he's
was
like, oh,
yeah.
okay, yeah, I'm in
Yeah,
pain.
and then even after that, like he still hit me up, like, you know, like my bad, you know.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah.
Oh, that's
it's all
actually good
yeah.
that he
Yeah.
realized that, like, even though it was a nightmare tattooing him, like,
Yeah.
he realized that he could have handled it differently.
Yeah.
Because you have other ones that are like, you didn't want to tattoo me, you didn't want to finish my piece, but it's like, yeah, ask why.
Yeah.
They don't want to ask you why. They just want to point fingers.
Yeah.
It's like, you ask me why, I'll tell you because you were too drunk. I was going to fuck up your tattoo. You don't want me to fuck up your tattoo that's going to be on your skin forever. You know? So
yeah,
there's
definitely.
reasons why. That's crazy.
But yeah, like you said, like no one ever really says that.
Yeah.
It's always just your fault. You
Yeah. Damn, Velasquez. It's crazy knowing that, you're a good representation of, like, no matter how many nightmares you had to deal with, you kept pushing through.
Yeah, you got
because you believed
dude.
in yourself. And you said you wanted this. Like,
yeah.
And it shows, especially where you're at now. Like, you pretty much, like, scooped all of the shit that you didn't need and stuff.
Yeah,
even though you
filter it out.
Yeah, and you're just like, you know what? Tunnel vision is the way to go. Like,
honestly.
And you build boundaries for yourself. And I think that's so important. Like, this is the outcome of what you're going to get once you go through all those nightmares and stuff. And I guess I know exactly what you mean by it's like the passage, the rite of passage.
Like, you kind of have to go through these things to kind of grow.
It's really rare when you don't. But I will say now, like, we don't treat other artists or other fellow clients like that, how it was in the old school mindset.
Yeah, because especially if you've been through it, like, dude, that shit sucks, you know.
Yeah.
So you don't want to put like, the next kid through that. Like,
yeah, and I feel like we were in between those, like, old school and new school where we understand both.
Yeah,
that
dude.
We don't see that no one's wrong or right. It's just like there's just a better way of doing things now that I know it's hard for the old school to be like, well, I've been through this, well, I started this, and we're grateful and everything that they helped us through things, but they also traumatized us. We're like, we're not gonna traumatize the next generation as much, like how they did to it.
Yeah.
But there are gonna be people out there giving you nightmares, and it's learning when to wake up and realize how to set boundaries and shit. Like Freddy Krueger status, like.
Yeah.
But you know what? To end this on a very good note, I do have one question for you, Cesar. Question number 1. What advice would you give a tattoo artist on how to treat their fellow clients, especially with circumstances that you've been through?
I mean, I feel like it goes just beyond clients. It's just people in general. You want to treat them like with, respect, the way that you would want to be treated.
Yes.
Yeah, you just gotta be kind, dude. Like,
respectful.
Yeah, respectful. Set those boundaries, especially with like this,
Like, learn what boundaries you have to communicate.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. That is a big one.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say that.
Okay. Thank you, Cesar, for sharing your nightmare and trauma dumping on all of us. But thank you guys for listening to our chisme. And now we're going to cheers with our cups. He has his custom made one from his brother. And I have my, what's his name? Jack Skellington. Oh my God.
You got it.
But see you guys in our next episode, Tattoo Nightmare, episode 10. Bye, guys.